Hi, my name is Glenn Towery, and I'm here to talk to you about something that's very distressing for me, and it should be distressing for a lot of people who have served, and for a lot of Americans who believe in justice and fairness. I'm here to talk about racism at the Veterans Administration for African American veterans when they process claims, disability claims, for benefits for service-connected disability. So this is something that's been going on for a long time, and the VA has yet to address it. And this is something that's very important to be addressed because there should be fairness. There should be fairness for all veterans who apply for benefits and claims. But it's already been discovered and documented that black veterans are getting the back end of the stick. We're not getting the benefits that we deserve. And the reason being is that the racism that exists at the VA amongst the people that are doing the veterans' claims. This is a big problem. I met with the Secretary of the VA at the invitation of Representative John Carter about a year ago. And during that meeting, it was at a roundtable discussion that was, I believe, was broadcast all over the United States to different veteran service organizations and different VAs. At that meeting, we were to make suggestions to the Secretary of the VA as to how to improve those services. So when my time came to add my suggestion, I asked Secretary of the VA, Dennis McDonough, what was he doing in order to ensure no more discrimination was happening for black veterans that make claims for service-connected disability. And at that time, he quoted some statistics. I believe he said it was 5 or 6%, something like that, that these claims were doing, and that the President Biden had asked him to do something about that to address the issue. And he talked about an equity team that he had created to deal with this problem. So after that meeting, I decided to go check onto some of these things. I used myself as an example when I was talking to him. Now let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a Vietnam combat veteran, United States Navy, and I was medevaced out of Vietnam. After I was medevaced out of Vietnam, I was administratively discharged at the Oakland Naval Hospital. And after I was discharged, I was just basically summarily released onto the streets. Well, I started getting tings of PTSD. That was in the late 1970s, and by mid 1980s, I had a real problem that I had to address. So I went to the VA and I filed for service-connected disability. When I filed for that disability, I fully expected to be treated fairly. But what happened was anything but fair. And I'm just an example of what's been happening to many, many black veterans. Conley Monk Jr. filed a suit against the United States Veterans Administration office. When he filed that suit, it was the first time that a suit was allowed to be able to go forward because you just couldn't sue the VA. The VA has a system set up whereas it was nearly impossible to sue them until now, because Mr. Monk's claims on behalf of himself and other black veterans showed that there was a pattern of discrimination against black veterans. It has been established that he has the right to sue because these conditions do exist. When I spoke to the secretary, he assured me that they were doing all kinds of work, everything, working overtime with the equity team to address this problem. But when I tried to discover where the equity team was, the work that they were doing, I could find absolutely nothing. I wrote to the secretary office himself and to the secretary. I never got a response. This racism, this discrimination exists within the very important portion of the VA that allows veterans with PTSD to get the help that they need. And it is not being fairly adjudicated. And I believe it's not being fairly adjudicated because the VA has developed a pattern of discriminating against black and other veterans. So when you discriminate against veterans like ourselves, what are you saying to us when we serve our country? What does that mean? What does our service even mean to you and you're the Veterans Administration when you are summarily, intentionally discriminating against us as veterans? In 1986, I applied for service-connected benefit. I was denied that benefit, and I fought for 25 years because I knew that I deserved that benefit. In that span of 25 years, I was homeless. I tried to kill myself. I was homeless several times. I was hospitalized for anxiety, for PTSD. I was in a myriad PTSD groups at the VA, and nothing would change to help me to get my 100% service-connected disability, which I deserved. And it was proven that I deserved it in 2012 when I went to what's called a PRRC. At the PRRC, a doctor there took my record and went through it, and he discovered that I truly was eligible and should have been given my service-connected disability when I first applied for it. They granted my service-connected disability in 2012, almost 25 years after I had applied. But they didn't go back and pay me from the time that I submitted my claim. No, they just gave it to me from the moment that this doctor looked at my case. But they really did owe me from that moment, from the moment in 1986 when I actually did apply. Why? Because of 3.156C1, which is a VA statute which basically says if you do not look at a veteran's entire file when you render a decision, when a decision is made in favor of that veteran, you have to go back. The statute says you have to go back and re-adjudicate that case from the date of the first filing. The VA has refused to do that in my case. This is the VA law. They're not even following their own principles. They're trying to make me file what's known as a CUE. So I'm just an example, though. What I'm saying to you is that this is the sort of thing that is happening throughout the VA system, has been happening for many, many years, and we've got to fix it. There's no way in the world that we should be experiencing discrimination of this type from the VA for black and Hispanic and or any other veterans. If you served, and especially if you were a combat veteran like myself, but even if you were not, everyone is entitled to due process under the law, the guidances, and the statutes of the VA system. So this is a very, very important thing that's about to happen. We're going to go to court on this through Conley. I'm going to court right now against the Navy because of what had happened to me. But we need to find out who these people are that are discriminating against these claims at the VA, against black veterans' claims so disproportionately at the VA. The VA has not created a system of accountability. As far as I know, they don't even know who these people are. They're probably repeat offenders. They're probably people that are just plain, I'm not going to give it to a black person unless I am forced to do so. But the problem for the VA is this: you have no accountability. When we come to you as veterans, We don't even see the names of these people who are making these arbitrary and capricious, biased decisions as regards awarding us our disability, our service-connected disability payments and benefits. Because of that, these people hide behind the shield of the VA. They're the VA. But who are these people? And why doesn't the VA know who they are? And why haven't they looked at the records and found out who are making these arbitrary and capricious decisions against black veterans, brown veterans, and others? It has definitely been shown that the VA has been discriminating against black veterans. And I'm calling on the United States Congress. I'm asking the President to make sure, first of all, to make sure that the Secretary of the VA does what he actually asked him to do, get to the bottom of this, and fix it. You cannot fix it without having accountability. You cannot fix this if you turn a blind eye, let people do what they want to do. You cannot fix this if you allow people to just run roughshod and do what they want without anyone questioning the justice in what they're doing, without anyone saying this is wrong, this is not the law, and you should follow the law. So, I'm asking right now that you become aware of the discrimination against African American veterans. African American veterans have fought in every war for these United States of America. We have fought, we have died, we have lived, and we have survived. In that survival, those things that are due for veterans, we should be amply a part of. The first Rhode Island 1st Infantry, they led the attack in Yorktown that ended the American Revolutionary War, led by Hamilton. It was all black, mostly black brigade that fixed bayonets in the cold of night during the Battle of Yorktown and went and fought so valiantly that Cornwallis surrendered in 3 days. The 761st Tank Battalion, who fought valiantly during the Battle of the Bulge, who fought their way in to rescue the 101st Airborne, who were surrounded by heavy armor and artillery. They lost many, many men. They fought their way in and they fought their way out, becoming the tip of the spear, becoming the spurring point that helped us to win the Battle of the Bulge. The tank unit right there, the 761st, were the first unit to cross the vaunted German line. The Harlem Hellfighters, who spent more time on the front line than any American division. They weren't even allowed to fight as Americans. They had to fight under the French flag. But they became the most decorated unit of all of World War I. And they came home and they had to face the Red Summer. These are just a few of the things that our black men have done. The Red Tails, valiant in victory. These men and black men deserve, we have earned to be treated fairly by the VA system. And we demand that you do the work to ferret out those people who are doing harm to us by not providing us fairness when we apply for service-connected disability from the VA, when we have stood and fought and put our lives on the line with everybody else equally. Those bombs and bullets could have killed any of us at any time. They're equal when they come out, and we should be treated equal as well. So again, my name is Glenn Towery. I'm here to ask Congress to look into this matter. I'm here to ask President Biden to look into this matter, because you already had it on your mind and you assigned it to the Secretary of the VA. And I'm here to tell you, sir, he's not doing his job. If he is doing his job, he must find a way to do it better and fix the problem at the VA. So that's all I have to say at this time. But if anybody would like to contact me, you'll see my information here on the screen. Feel free to do so. Again, I am an American veteran, combat veteran of Vietnam, and all I'm asking is for the same thing in the same manner be given to black veterans. Thank you.